Developers, probably as children, pulled their toys apart to see how they worked.
Pandas is something I work on just because I want to work on it.
One of the things that had always driven me is this dream of I can build something myself.
Knowing that my project is out there and it's being used by people day to day, honestly, it's the best feeling in the world.
Being a developer is a really neat superpower.
It's just never been this easy and this quick to create applications.
Azure is a super useful platform. Being able to build the code, have it deployed within about 15 to 20 minutes has been an absolutely indispensable capability.
For virtually everything that an open source project needs, it is already free. It is very important that the CI also be free, and Azure Pipelines provides a number of free builds.
My Aunt Jill, she was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and that's really what motivated me in the beginning. OptiKey allows people to fully control their computer using eye movement. The first time I got a sentence out, "Hello, my name is Julius," it was incredible.
最初はですね、大企業の方々が使うものだというイメージは持っていたんですけども、AI の力を使ってお店に来る方々が最も求めている商品を。
In 2010, we started Girl Develop It. It's really neat to have women reaching out to me and tell me that they are now full-time coders.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Hamza Hassan, today's host and Microsoft investor from Fast Uses. You all know about the Microsoft Learn Student Investor is a program to sponsor students majoring in disciplines related to technology. The MLSA program enhances student employability by offering training in skills not usually taught in academia, including knowledge of Microsoft technology. MLSA are a global community of university students who passionately share their knowledge with their peers. So today's event is going about the introduction to C++ through Visual Studio Code by two speakers who are Microsoft student investor from Fast News, Aisha Umar and Huzafa Wahid. So giving a short introduction about today's speakers, Aisha Umar is a Microsoft student investor and side-by-side an effective software engineer student. She is an activist from Microsoft Student Investor Society at FAST. She is having experience dealing with logic code. She has a well-known knowledge of different Microsoft technologies. In today's event, she is followed by Huzafa Wahid, who is Microsoft student ambassador from FAST, and he is having hands-on experience in different projects, and he is a great logic builder. Side by side, he is also effective software engineer student and a member of Malsa FAST. This event is for all, regardless of their background, because they will be presenting from very beginning. So it means no prior knowledge is required. So don't worry. So now starting the event, I invite Aisha Omar to share her knowledge and experience. Over to you, Aisha.
Let me know if I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let's begin. So first, let's have a look at the outline, so you'll know the content which we are gonna cover throughout the presentation or our session. So first, we'll go through the VS Code installation. Then we'll have a brief introduction to the C++. Then we'll write our first program, which will be Hello World. Then we'll go through the variables, then data types, and we'll work with the strings, then with the numbers. Then you'll get to know how to get the user input. After that, we'll build a basic calculator, and at last we'll go through the functions. So, as there's a saying that before an effect, there is always a cause, right? So there must be a need that why we are urging you to install the VS Code, right? So although we can also run and execute our code through the command prompt by providing the path, but using IDE makes it easier for us. So there are many code editors for C++, but I consider VS Code because it's lightweight and powerful source code editor and is available for Windows, Mac operating systems, and Linux. It has extensions for most of the programming languages, so we can use this editor not only for C++, but also for other languages like Python, Java, and many others. If you want to learn them in future, you can use Visual Studio Code. And if you already learned them, you can try them using this editor. So for downloading the VS Code, just you have to head to this link, and you will be directed to a page. You can also use your search engine and directly write the VS Code installation there, and you will be directed to a page like this. Here you can see that there are many options given for different operating systems, for Windows, for Linux, for Mac operating systems. So here's the download button, and I chose the Windows 10 version and the 64-bit operating system as it matches my system. You can do whichever which matches your operating system, right? So after clicking here or button, the installation will start. The installation process is the same for almost all of the operating systems. After the VS Code has been installed, the next thing you have to do. The next thing you have to do is to install the IDE, which will support this code editor. So for that, we chose the MinGW IDE for 32 and 64-bit for Windows. For that, you have to head to this link. You will be directed to a page. You can see here, it will be like this, a window like this. Or you can also head to the page by simply writing it in your search engine, like MinGW download, and you will be headed to the same page, right? So here you can see there is a download button. Hit the download button and the installation will start. After it has been installed, so the next thing that you have to do is to provide the path, right? Why we provide the path? Because so that our system will know the path if we are gonna compile something. So the system will know that in which path it's gonna use or provide the path to the source code editor, right? So for doing this, you just have to follow the simple steps, which I'm going to explain. So first, head to the Windows search bar, and in that, types edit environment variables for your account, right? So in that, then select edit, go here, and select this one right in the search bar. So after that, you have selected that, select advanced, then the environment variables, right? Once you have selected that, you will be directed to a window like this. Here you can see there is written path. Select that and select edit. Once you're done with this, click OK. Then a window and again next window will appear. So here click edit, then provide the MinGW path. After you have provided that, then click OK, right? So now we are done by giving the path. Now our system knows that what if a code comes, now it knows the path of that code, right? So now after that, open your Visual Studio Code. So here you can see a window like this. So after we headed to this, next, right? So that our compiler will know that in which language we are going to code. So here you can see a search bar. So click that search bar and write C++. The first extension that will come through, install that one. It is a C or C++ compiler. You can see here.
Hello, Isha.
Yeah.
Isha, please close the screen and reshare it with the desktop screen. They can't see the VS Code.
Okay. I hope now it's visible. Is it visible now?
Yep. Yes, it's fine now.
Okay, thank you. So go to the search bar. Here you type the C++. Then the first option that will come through will be the C or C++. So here you can see that it's IntelliSense Debugging and Code Browsing Microsoft. So click that and then install this C or C++. After its installation, again in the search bar, write Code Runner and also install that one. So now we are ready to code through through our code editor, right? So before that, let's have some introduction of the language in which we are going to code, right? So this language is pronounced as C++. It is a powerful language in a sense that it is closer to the machine language. So the interaction between them becomes easy, right? So it is the updated version of or we can say that it is the advanced version of C language, which was procedural language. So what I mean by procedural language, that procedural language is step by step. It executes or it's processed in step-by-step order, while C++ is an object-oriented language which deals with the object's logics. So I hope clear to you. Now we'll write our first program. First, know the basic syntax. Okay. Let me show you through the compiler. So open your Visual Studio Code. Right. So here, click the file button, select new file. When new file is created, then click the new file, and here's the option of plus and new file. Then here, write your file name. As it's your first program, so we'll name it as first. Don't forget to use the extension CPP, otherwise the compiler won't know that in which language we're gonna code, right? So first I'm gonna explain the basic syntax, right? So the syntax include, first we'll have the header file. I'll explain what header file is. Then we have the data type. Then our function name, along with the parentheses, don't forget to include the parentheses after the name of the function, because parentheses is a, we can say, indicator that it shows that there is a function, right? So Hamza, can you please let me know if my Visual Studio Code screen is being shared?
No, Aisha, only your PowerPoint is showing. So.
Okay, it isn't being shared. Okay. I hope it is visible now.
Yeah.
Now it is. Okay, thank you. So I was explaining the syntax. Sorry for the inconvenience. So first we'll have the header file, and then we'll include the data type. Then we'll include the function. Then in the curly braces, we'll include the body or the statements which we want our program to execute, right? So the statements. So let me explain what the whole thing is syntax, right? Header file, why we include header file, there is a reason behind it. We include header file because this header file adds functionality to our program, right? A functionality in a sense that the function which we are going to use, this header file will perform that functionality, right? And the data type will be the data type which we are going to return, and the body of the statements will be the statements which we are going to execute. It isn't clear much now, but when you do our first program, it will be much clearer to you. So let's write our first program, which will be hello world, as I've told you earlier. So we have included the header file, then using namespace std. I'll also explain the reason for that. After that, and the next thing that you have to do is to include the data type and the file name and the function name, basically. So the function name is main function, right? So the data type will be integer, and the function name will be main. After that, we'll include our body of our program. So cout hello world. Then we'll have our return type. As it is integer, so I'm going to return 0. So now let me explain this to you, okay? So I've used this header file because I want this statement in the body of my program to show to the user on the screen, to the output screen, right? So for this we use the iostream header file. In this, I stand for the input, O stand for the output, and stream stand for the string of character which are going to be written or read from the function or the system, right? And the using namespace std, we use this because if we don't use this, we have to write it again and again. We have to write this again and again in our program if we don't use this, right? So for our ease, we write it in the beginning, so we don't have to write it again and again. And the main function, so the compiler, first of all, it doesn't matter how many functions you include in your program. The compiler is always gonna call the main function first of all. So for that reason, it is must and necessary to include the main function in your program. So it is must. So if you don't understand it now, don't dig deeper into it. You will come to know about this by time, right? So cout. So cout, we use cout because cout is used to print the statements on the output screen. So let's save the program and then run it. So we'll attack this. Here you can see that it printed out hello world, right? So now you know that how the execution takes place. First the program goes here, then the control is inside the body, right? So it printed out the statement which we wanted it to print it out, right? So here's the same program that I've done on the Visual Studio Code. So here is the explanation of the program. As I've said earlier, header files add functionality to the C++ programs. And this is the main was called function, and this we provide cout along with the insertion operators. And also this is the must thing that you must include after the cout, right? So the next important concept that I'm going to explain after the syntax or our first program is the variables. So variables are the reserved memory locations, right? So variables are basically the reserved memory locations to which we assign. Hamza, are my slides being shared?
No, you are only showing Visual Studio Code.
I don't know why this is happening.
Please share the desktop screen on the very first one window. Share the desktop window. That will not create an issue. Please close this screen and again share it with the desktop screen.
Okay. Where is the desktop? Is it visible now?
Yep.
Okay. So the next important concept that which I'm gonna explain is about the variables. So variables are basically the reserved memory locations to which we assign a name and also store data in it. So we can see here that it is a combination of two words, vary and able, which vary, you must know that it means change, right? So it means the data stored in the variable can be changed. So that way to show you that how can we declare variables, just edit our first code that we have written. Now open your Visual Studio Code. Now declare a variable name it number and assign it a value. Right, now print it out, cout number, just save it and you'll know the output. So you can see that it printed out 10. So as there are rules for naming everything, so it also has some rules. So let me explain an example so that you can understand it in a better way. So if we start a business, right, and it's an organization, and if you want to name it, right, so if you want to name it, there are some restrictions. In these instances, we can name them, right? So these restrictions are that the name of our organization must not match the pre-existing organizations. So if the name of our organization resemble the ones that exist earlier, then we face copyright issues, right? So in the same way, in programming languages, there are certain rules for naming a variable. So there are reserved keywords or certain reserved words which can be used in naming. So if we use them in variable naming, we will face errors. So there are some like we can't use number at the starting of naming a variable. We can't use operators, symbols, and void which is a return type, right? And we also can't use the identifiers. So basically, what are the identifiers, right? So I'll just give the briefing of this because in next slides you will understand in a better way. So identifiers basically identify the type of data which is going to be stored in that variable. So these identify that variable. So I can come to the slide after this. Okay. Previously, I talked about the identifiers, right? So the identifiers are basically the data types. So the data types are the values specify the values that they're going to be stored in that specific variable, right? And they tell us the type of the data, the memory that it's going to reserve in bytes, and the range of values which we can store in that variable, right? So here you can see a chart of the different data types. There is a char word which is used to store a single character, right? And it occupies 1 byte in our memory. You can see the range of values which we can store in char data type. There is a short data type which stores 2 bytes in the memory. There is also an int data type which stores 4 bytes in memory. And there is another long data type which also stores 4 bytes in memory. And there is another float data type which stores 4 bytes, then double which stores 8, and then long double which stores 10. So now I'll explain this. Then we'll code it in the Visual Studio Code. So here we declared a char named gender. You can see here we stored 1 character. In float, we use decimal numbers. In integer data type, we can't use decimal type numbers, right? Decimal values. But in float, we use float to store the decimal values. And then here we declare another int integer data type. And but let's do it in VS Code so that it'll be much clearer to you. Okay, let's declare some data types. So let me introduce char character, right? Then assign it a value. और सेमीकोलंस देना आप लोगों ने नहीं भूलना है, अदरवाइज आप लोग एरर आएगा कंपाइलेशन में. उसके बाद कोड डिक्लेयर करते हैं. float में just name it pi, right? So we'll add pi float. Then we'll assign it a value. Let's assign it 3.14. After that, other data type which we had was, okay, now let's see out them, print them out. Then we'll know the error if we see out the number is integers. Then see out the number. And also use and because it is used for the next line. Now the character is character. Then float is pi float. And then our return value. And also don't forget to use the semicolons. It acts as a sentence terminator. Save your program, then run it. Here you can see that the integer value is 10, the character is A, and the float is 3.14. So just mess with the code so we know that what kind of error we'll get if we don't use data which we can store. If I store A in type and number in a character type 1, 2, and also integer data type in float, right? So you can see that we'll face errors. Sorry. So if I use this, it return me the size. Like you can see that here I use in integer type I gave the input as A, so here it is giving me an error, right? So you can see that if we don't use the type of data which we have declared, we'll face errors. So as I said earlier, we can also change the value of integer variables, right? So if I declare here a variable of num1 and assign it a value of 10 and then see out it, the value before change num1 और अगर हम यहाँ पे भी से चेंज करें, अभी हम इसको दूसरा वैल्यू असाइन करेंगे num1 को, ठीक है? तो num1 लिख के उसको दूसरी वैल्यू असाइन कर दें, सॉरी num1 लिख के उसको हम लोग 20 असाइन कर देते हैं। तो आपको फिर से डेटा टाइप डिक्लेयर करने की जरूरत नहीं है। इफ यू डिक्लेयर दैट you'll have an error, right? So अभी अगर मैं इसको सी आउट करूं, the value of after change, right? The value after change is what to include. It's num1 now you can see, yeah, अभी आप देख सकते हैं कि वैल्यू चेंज हो गई है। Before the change it was 10 and after assigned it and the value now it's 20, right? So here you can know that how we can assign or change the values of a variable. So I think it's quite clear now. So in the previous slides we learned about the characters, right? So there was a problem, like if you want to use words or multiple characters, or if you want to use sentences, then what should we do? So to counter that problem, strings were introduced, right? So strings are used to store multiple characters or sentences or words. So as we declare character and we write them in single quotes, so we write strings in double quotation marks. You can see here that like we introduced a string, named it first, and then write it within double quotation marks. So here's an example. Like we used a header file for the input-output operations. In the same way, we have to use another library for the operations to perform on the string, right? So for that, we have to use the string library. So for that, you have to use #include, then the insertion operators, and between those insertion operators, you have to write the string, right? So here's example. You can see here, we included another library file, then we introduced our string, then we see out it, right? So let's do it through the Visual Studio Code. So let me to declare a string. Before that, we have to use our library file, #include and string. After including this, introduce the string. So for that, like we use the identifier or the data type char. In this, we have to write a string, and I'm going to declare a name and assign it a name, like Aisha. If I see out, it'll print it'll print the name. See out, the name is name. You must have noticed earlier that I've been using double quotation marks, right? So here you can see that for sentences we can also use double quotation marks. Otherwise, if we use single quotes, we won't be able to print it out. So it printed out the name is Aisha. So by using characters, we won't be able to do that. So moving further, We can perform different operations on strings, right? So there is a term concatenation. So we can perform concatenation with the strings. So first, let me tell you about the literal meanings. The literal meaning of concatenation is the interconnected things, right? But in programming, concatenation means to join words and or characters. Simply, here is an example, a very simple example. You can see that we introduced a string, first name is Adil, then the other string, last name, which is Shah, and another string to concatenate them, which is named full name. Then we add the summation operator, the plus operator, to concatenate them. So when we see out, we'll have these both in concatenated form. So here previously I have declared the name string Aisha. Now I'll declare another string name last name. We know how the concatenation takes place. So the last name will be Umar, and another string to concatenate them, which will be full name. So name plus last name. No, the semicolons. So the name is full name. Now we'll print out the full name. यहाँ पे भी full name लिख दें because then it will be clear to you that it is the full name, not the previous one. Save it and run it. Let's let it clear so that it will be visible. So here you can see that it printed out Aisha Umar, but you can see that it's a bit messy, right? If there have been a space, it would look much better. So for including space, we can also concatenate or add spaces, right? For that, just include the quotation marks, then a space, because it will concatenate a space, add a space. And after I added that, now if I run the code, here you can see the difference that now here we have a space. So it looks better than the previous one, right? Because it's easy to read now. After that, now you know that we can also perform this kind of operation on strings. So here's the same example with the other name. Here's Josefa and the second name is Wahid. And when we concatenated them, we got this. So there's another operation that we can perform on string, that we can know the length of a string, like what is its length, right? So for length, we have to use a function, which is a length function. To perform that, you simply have to do write the name of the variable that you've declared with the dot, with the period, then include the function name. The function name is length, and the parentheses, as I've told you earlier, that parentheses identify or show that it's a function, then the semicolons. Here you can see that we introduce a string. It includes all the alphabets. Then we use the length functions, and you can see the output that it gave us 26, means the length of this string is 26. Let's do it on our own. So here, if I include the length function with the full name, see out the length of full name is full name include the function अभी इसको रन करते हैं आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे आया है कि द लेंथ ऑफ द फुल नेम इज 10 तो जो फुल नेम था उसका लेंथ इसने 10 शो की है ठीक है सो अगर हम इसको नेम पे करें कि नेम का लेंथ क्या है द लेंथ name dot length, sorry, ठीक है. अभी अगर हम देखें, we'll see out the length of the name. You can see that the length of the name is 5 while the length of the full name is 10. So this is how we can know the length of our strings, right? So after that, we can also access the individual characters in our string, right? So we can do this by accessing the indices. Indices are the places in which that character is stored, right? So the indices start from 0. Like here's a string, so its indices will be index 1, here is 0, then it will be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, right? So if we want to access the individual character, the thing we have to do is, okay, my string, the name of our variable, then in square braces, right? Do remember to when we're gonna use the indices, use the square brackets. In that include the index which you want to access. Then if I used here 0, so it will print the first character, and the output is H, right? So if I use here 1, so it will output me E, right? So in that way we can access strings. Here you can see that here we declared a string named XYZ and we assigned it a beautiful word, and here we are accessing the individual characters. Like on index 1 it was B, on index 3 it was U, and on index 4 it was T, and vice versa. So we can also change the characters in a string by giving that value to that specific index, right? So how we can do this? Here you can see that we included the index and assigned it a value. We assign that specific character using the index, right? So here the word was beautiful, and we assigned it 0 index. 0 index was B, right? So we assign it Z, and when we print it out, we'll have a word like beautiful instead of beautiful. So this is how we change characters. So let's do it here. I have a practical approach to that. So if I'm gonna access that, so see out, what is the variable name? Its name. Then include the index, which is 0. I'm going to include 0 now, and L, and now I'm going to access the third and L. Save the code and run it. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि फर्स्ट जो 0 इंडेक्स पे था वहाँ पे A था, तो इसने मुझे A प्रिंट कर दिया, राइट? और यहाँ पे भी इसने मुझे H प्रिंट कर दिया क्योंकि मैंने थर्ड इंडेक्स को रेफर किया था. अभी हम देखिए हम लोग कैसे इसको चेंज करते हैं, राइट? So let me assign it in the value. Let me assign name 0, index 0, E, right? So I'm replacing it with character E. Now if I print, now we have print name. Let me clear it. Okay. Now here you can see that now it is Isha instead of Aisha, right? Because I changed the character to E instead of A, which was previously A. Now the next thing that you have to do, the next thing that we want to do is to know the length, right? I think we have done the length function, right? So let's have a quick review of what we have done till now. So first of all, we installed our Visual Studio Code, and then after that we installed our IDE, and then we provided the path. Then after that, we had an introduction of our language, C++, and after that we came across variables like they are the data types, or they are the memory locations in which we store data. Then we came across data types, different data types, and the space that they're going to occupy in our memory. After that, we came across the strings and the different operations we perform on these strings, like the length function, the index, and the concatenation functions. And how we can change the characters by referring to their specific indices.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting. We are having a few questions for you, Aisha. Manu Fatma has asked, what is an IDE? Can you please let us know in some detail about IDE? Over to you, Aisha.
Okay, sorry. Audible?
Manu Fatma has asked, what is an IDE?
Okay. Basically, IDE is a software application that provides facilities to computer programmers to build tools and the debuggers and to easily compile our code.
Okay, so we have another question for you by Akasha Khan. Is it always necessary to use main function?
Yes, it is. I've told you in the when I was presenting, like the compiler, first of all, calls the main function. After that, it executes the other function. So it is must to include the main function. Otherwise, you won't be able to compile your program in a correct way, or you will face errors.
Okay. Thanks for answering the question, Aisha. I hope there is not any confusion about the topic. So now moving on, I would like to invite another speaker, Mr. Huzefa Wahid, to continue and share his knowledge. Over to you, Huzefa.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible? Hamza?
Yeah, but your voice is so low.
Hello, now it is okay.
Yep, clear. Loud.
Okay, so up till now, what we have learned, they were the main basic thing, and what we will be learning, they will be the basic thing. Like in just mathematics, we just first come familiar with the numbers. Then we just start playing with it. We just start working with it. We learn the addition. We learn the subtraction. Similarly, as in the programming language, we will be first getting the basic thing. So after getting the basic thing, then we can solve the more difficult and the challenging questions. Okay. So now what we will be learning about is you getting user input. Like up till now, we have just seen that how can we see out something on the console. Now, if I want that my user who will be using my program, he should input something, some data of his own, whatever he want. So for that, I will be using built-in. It is called a keyword CN, which means console input, which will be using to get data from the user. So let's see its syntax. How will we be using it? Okay. So is my Visual Studio Code visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So what we actually did, we have included our prerequisite requirements, hash include iStream and using namespace std. As Aisha has already discussed what they are, and they are the necessary things in order to run a program. and we will be seeing it in each and every program. Okay. Then we just declared string first name as a string data type, and this is first name is basically a variable. So what actually I want here I will display enter your first name to the user, and he will give some name which I will be storing here in the first name. Okay, here the cin command, it will ask from the user that you have to enter your first name, and I will be storing that first name in this variable, which I have given the name as first name. Okay, and then if I want to display that name, then I will say that your first name is first name. This is basically the user input. Okay, this is basically a variable. The user input have been stored in this first name variable. So let me run the program and see how it runs. Okay, so now here it asks me to enter your first name. So let's suppose I say my first name is Josefa, and when I press enter, it just displayed that your first name is Josefa. Okay, but first and most important, up till now your program will be running in this output stream. Okay, in this output tab. In order to get to provide input, you have to bring it into the terminal. For that purpose, you will go to in this settings, here in this settings, and here you will type run in terminal mi. Okay, and you will scroll down and see there the you will check this box. Mine is already checked. So after checking this box, your program will run in this terminal box. Okay, this terminal box, it is basically used in order to give some input. Like here, I can write something. Okay, in this output stream, it is basically only a read-only editor. Okay, here you cannot write anything. So this setting will be necessary in order to run the cin type programs. Okay, so this is basically what cin is. It will be used to getting data from the user. Let us see another example of it. If I want to get to know about what your favorite color is, like, so for that reason, I will build my program, which I will ask from the user to enter your favorite color. Okay, and whatever the user input, I will store it in this variable. Okay, and this variable is of string data type, because I know that the color which my user will be will be giving will be of string, because it will be of words. Okay, and I will then display is that your favorite color is color. Like here, when I run the program, the output will be like this. Kindly enter your favorite color, and my user input a black color. Okay, then I displayed it that your favorite color is black. But here is the one problem. I will explain it from the first one example. Like here, I am asking about enter your first name. Let's suppose my name consists of 2 to 3 words or either more words. So how will be it going? Like if I will clean it first. I run the program. Okay, and here it says me that enter your first name. Let's suppose my name is Josefa Wahid, Wahwet. So again, okay, I run it. So here I enter Josefa Wahid, but here it displayed me only Josefa. It has skipped these words. What just actually happened is basically when I give the space here, so it has ignored all the characters that were after the space. The main problem is with the space. Let me show you again. If I HUZ and I then give space and I enter another thing after the space, and when I press enter, it just show me HUZ. It have skipped the character after the space. So here I got a problem. Like if I want to give something which are more than one words, so how will be I tackling this? So for that reason, I will be using a keyword which is known as getLine. What actually be I doing? I will here type getLine, and I will put this this in brackets, and instead of using the greater sign, I will be using here the comma. how will be it actually working? Here I use the get line, like what the program my user will input, it will put it in one line. Here I use the cin program, like ask from the user, and what actually the user is giving us, save it in the first name. So now let me run my program again. Okay, here I will say my full name is WAHWET. Okay, I press enter. Now here it show me my full name. Okay, so that's how we will be using the cin program, and that's how we will be getting multiple words from the user through the getLine function. Okay, so let's moving on. Now here is the same example. Enter your full name. So I have entered, my user have input the full name is Jalaluddin Muhammad Balkhi. So here, if I said that there are more than 3 to 4 words, and it have displayed all the words because of this getLine function. Okay. Now just come with, let's us familiar with numbers. Like how can we play with numbers in programs? Okay. So let me first comment this out. Okay. So what actually comments are? Let me discuss comments. Comments in C++. These are basically these are basically like, this is a one-line comment. In order, if you want to make a one-line comment, we will be using the double forward slash. And if I want to make a multiple line comment, so I will use the forward slash and ampersand sign, and then the ampersand and the forward sign. Okay, so what actually comments are basically used in order to skip whatever we have commented in the program, or either we can use in order to understand the program. Okay, so there are basically the two reasons of it. So now let's suppose I see out 5 plus 3. I want to play with numbers. Let's suppose I want that I multiply some numbers in percent and 2, and I will do the same end line. Then I want to make something more. I want to divide 9 by 3. 9 divided by 3. Let me give space so it may be. Okay, now it's good. Let me first clear it and run the program. Okay, so here it has shown me that 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, 2 multiplied by 4 is also 8. Okay, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So that's how we can play with numbers. What if I let us look that why the end line is so important? If I delete this end line from my program will run. It will run accurately. But here is something messy up. Like it was first in line after line, and now they have been in one line. Now I will think that it is 883. So I will get confused, like how is this working? Like 5 plus 3 is how 8, and it is how this I am getting. So it will cause me problem. Okay. Now let me uncomment it again. Okay. So that's how we will be working with numbers. Let me run this program again. Here it is. I have included the IOStream, which we are always including it. And here is my main function. And when the console reaches here, it will enter into its body. After entering to its body, it will see that I have something to see out it. And here it is, the addition is, and it will say that addition is 5 plus 15 plus 3 is something 18. Let me run the program to see it more clearly. Okay, so here's my program run, and here is saying that your addition is 15 plus 3 is 18. Okay, your subtraction is 15 minus 3 is 12. Your multiplication is 15 multiplied by 3 is something 45. 15 multiplied by 3, yeah, it is 45. 15 multiplied by 3 is 5, and remainder is 1. So that's how we can work with numbers. We can play with numbers in different ways. Okay. Now, types of operators. There are basically 3 types of operators. One is unary operators, the second one is binary, and the third one is ternary operator. Hamza, first let me make sure is my voice clear?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you. So what are unary operators? Let me show you through the command. Let me make this program let me comment. So how will be I making comment my program? That's how I will be commenting my program. Here, if I say 3 plus plus, or if I say 3 minus minus, or if I say plus plus 3, or if I say minus minus 3. Okay, so they are basically the unary operator. Unary operators are those like here, if you say it is plus, so in plus there is one number. Okay, with minus there is only one digit. Here it plus is there one digit, and minus there is one digit. And here its result will be 4. Its result will 2. Here its result will be again 4, and here its result will be again 2. So now, what's the difference between this? Here I have used the plus plus after 3, and here I have used the plus plus before 3. So let us see. Basically, there are types of unary operators. The one is called increment, the another is called decrement, and the another is called negation. Okay. So this is basically the increment operator. This is basically the decrement operator. But what here? It is also the increment and it is also the decrement. So what's the difference between 3 plus plus and plus plus 3? Let me make clear it. 3 plus plus is basically post increment, and plus plus 3 is basically pre-increment. Okay. 3 plus plus will basically make the for it in the next line. Like if we are using the 3 plus plus in some laterally, so it will make 4 laterally. Plus plus 3 will make it 4 on the same line. Okay. Similarly as the 3 minus minus and minus minus 3. It is basically saying that add 1 to this program, to this digit. So it is basically 3, so it will add 1 to it, so it will make it 4. So that's what basically unary operators are. Now let's just talk about binary operators. Okay, what are binary operators? So 15 plus 3, they are basically the binary operators. Like with operator, there are 2 digits. Okay, with one operator there are 2 digits. Here with the operator there was only 1 digit, so it was called as unary operator. In binary there will be 2 digits with the operator, so that's why it is called binary. Is simple. Okay, binary operators are different types, as we are dealing with it from our nursery class. Arithmetic, like the simple addition, multiplication. There are relational operators, the greater than, the less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to. Okay, the logic operators. Logic operators are basically the and or not. We are also dealing with it. How is syntax is like for not and, we will be using the double ampersand sign. Okay, this is the syntax of using and this is the syntax of using or. Okay, now this is the assignment. For assignment we use 1 equal to, and similarly as arithmetic assignment operators. Okay, let me make it more clear. Like we say, if something is equal to something in mathematics, we use 1 equal to sign. Okay, if we want to that something is equal to something, like here 5 is equal to 5, so we use 1 equal to in mathematics. But in programming language, in every programming language, not only in C++, we will be using the double equal to. Okay, the double equal to will be will show us that this 5 is equal to this 5. Okay. 1 equal to is used for assignment. Now, what assignment is? Just let's know about it. What actually assignment operators are? Okay. So assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. In the example below, we use the assignment operator. For assignment operator, we use the 1 single equal to. Okay. And here we just declare our data type int, and x is equal to 10. Okay, What actually we are doing, we are assigning this 10 to this x. What are we doing? We will be get familiar to it in the upcoming programs. Okay, so here what we will be doing, we will be building our first basic calculator. How will be it working? Let's see, and it will be now simply it will be only adding our two numbers. So for adding two number, let us think about how to add two numbers. We need actually two digits in order to add them. Okay, so I will ask from my user to input one number, then I will ask him to input the another number for your addition, and then I will add them and I will display them that the digits you have been given, their addition is this. Let's see the program. Okay, so here is my calculator. Let me zoom it a little bit. Okay, so as we are doing, I've just included my basic things. Here I will make it int for now. And I just declare my variables of integer data type, and then I ask from my user that enter your first number. Then I save that number in num1. Then I ask from my user to enter your second number, and I save it in num2. And then I see out it that your total is, and then I add those numbers and I print it out. How will be it working? Let me clear up and let me run my program again. Okay, sorry. Let me again run my program. Okay, so here enter your first number. So my first number will be 20, and my second number, let's suppose it's 30. So here your total is 50. Here we have seen how this works. I entered one number 20 and I enter the number 30. So it has given me the total is 50. So this is our calculator. It gives me, it is only a part of a calculator basically. It is only working addition. It's not giving me the another functionality like multiplication or division. Let me give some big numbers in order to add them. If I enter something big numbers in order to check my calculator, it is that reliable or not. And when I press enter, oh, here it gave me an error. Not error, my program runs successfully, but the output which he has given me is not what actually as accepted. Here it says that enter the second number. Before asking me the second number, it has given me an output, and this is basically in minus. How is that possible? I have given my number in plus. I want this to be in plus. Basically, it has given me a garbage value. So what's actually the reason behind it? It's basically the integer data type. As Aisha have already discussed, that these data types can store at a certain bytes. Okay, they can store a certain amount of values. They have limits. So basically here I have exceeded the limit of the integer. So in order to deal with such big number, I will have to put a big data type which can store value something big. And when I run the program, now I can give some big numbers. And when I run it here, let's see, it's asking me for the second number. And when I press enter, now the total is something like this. It's giving me an E, and this will be almost 100% accurate. So this is how my calculator works. Now let us see something more interesting. I want a calculator which will not only give me the addition, I want it that it should always also give me the subtraction, the multiplication, the division, and remainder. So for that, I will be using this calculator, and I will do some amendments in it. I will just say that see out it what actually the user have input the subtraction. So I will use the subtraction sign. For multiplication, I will use the multiplication sign, and for division, I will use the division sign. Let me clear it. Okay, so these are the basic things which we have already discussed. Okay, now we have just do amendments in this thing. And when I run my program, it asks me to enter a number. So let me give some simple numbers. I say 5 and give me some another number. Let me say it's 10. Okay, so its addition is 15, its subtraction is -5. Because 5 is less than 10, so 10 minus 5 minus 10 is -5. And multiplication and simply division. So this is how my calculator will work. Okay, so that's how this is. Now let's see a task. Okay, I will be making a code. This is basically in order to get familiar, like how to understand the question, what actually is asked in the question, and how to deal with it, like how to build the logic for it. So let's see the task. Here it is saying that write a C++ program. Okay, so we have to write a C++ program, which will convert dollar to rupees. Like here, the logic will be something like that, that my user will input a dollar and I will have to convert it into rupees. Okay, so I will have to build a program for this. So how will be I building my program? Let's see. For that reason, I will here come and make my file, which will I say task dot cpp. File for task.cpp already exists. Okay, so it's already exist. So I will change it, change the name. When I press enter, okay. So here I will just include the prerequisite requirements hash include IO stream, okay. And then I will say using namespace std, and then I will include my main function. Okay. Here, what actually I'm doing, I'm building something converter that will convert the dollars into rupees. So let me think. For that reason, I will have, because the dollars and the rupees, they are both numbers. So I will declare the data type as integer. There will be one data type in dollar and another data type in rupee. Okay. Then I will see out it like I'm building my converter. So I will make it some beautified dollar to rupee converter. Okay, and then I will use the \n. Okay, so what here actually I did, this is basically used for next line. Instead of using the end line, I use the \n. It will work as same as the end line. There is no difference between these two. Okay, and then I will say see out enter your amount. Then I will say and L. Okay. And then I will see in like I am getting dollar from my user, so I will say dollar. And then if I have to convert into rupee, so I will say that rupee is equal to dollar multiplied by 150. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the logic here, like 1 rupee is basically equal to, no, $1 is basically equal to 150 rupees. Okay. So how many dollars will be equal to how many rupees? For that reason, I will have to multiply that amount of dollar with 150. Now I will just simply see out like your amount in rupees are, and I will say that rupee. Like I have saved those number in this variable, and then I will just simply out this variable, and in the end I will say that I am not returning anything. So I will say I will return 0. Okay, so let me just check my program. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything is okay. And let me run first. Let me clear my program. Okay, so there is yeah. Let me clear it and run. Okay, so here it just display me that dollar to rupee converter, enter your amount. So I will enter my amount like now I am converting my dollars to rupees. So I will have to input in dollars. So let us suppose if I am having $500. So the amount in rupees are 75,000. So that's how the dollar have been converted into rupees. Okay, but wait, the dollar is not 150. Let's suppose it is 150.35 something. Okay, and let me run my program again. I say that my amount is 500. It's again giving me this thing. There should be something in points. So in order to get this value in points, I will use float. Okay. So what float will actually do, it will print me out what the values in points were. Okay. So 500. Okay. So it have just increased it by 1. Okay. So it means that there are nothing such value in point. Let me change my value and 500. Okay, so it means that there are nothing in points. Okay, so that's how my dollar to rupee converter will work. Okay, so what actually we did, we convert our dollars to rupees. So we are done with this task. Okay, let's see the second task. It says that you have to convert your rupees to dollar. So what actually are we doing? First, we convert our dollars to rupees, and now we will convert the rupees back to dollar. So for that reason, I will have to just change one thing in my program. Instead of this multiplication, I will make it divide, because 1 rupee is equal to $1 divided by 153.35. I don't know what actually the value of dollar is, but and I will change this thing to make it clear. Now I am using the rupee to dollar converter, RUP. Yeah, this right. Okay. Now if I say that I have been having an amount of 500 rupees. So wait. Okay. So here the dollars are 3.2. So I am having only $3. If I am having 500 rupees, so in dollars it's only 3. Okay, let me make it integer. If I say I have something very big amount of money, like I am very rich, and I am having this much amount of money, which I don't know how billions they will be. And when I enter, it will give me some garbage values. This will be not basically what the dollars will be. It is because of this integer. So in order to make it accurate, I will be using the double. Okay, so that my program should also deal with very big amounts. So that's actually what the amount of rupees will be. Okay, it's just a garbage value because I have given the dollars in such much amount and their rupees are that less. So that's how we will be building logic, like how to convert the dollars to rupees to multiply it with 150. Okay, and that's how we will be making our course. Here we have been familiar with how to use the cin function, how to use the variables, how to use the data types, and what are their limitations. Okay, so here come the most important and interesting topic, functions. What are basically functions? Functions are function provide abstraction to our program. Now what abstraction is? Abstraction is basically like if you pick up a remote and you turn on your AC and your room start cooling. Okay, so you are only concerned in order to make your room cool. You are not concerned like how your AC is functioning, how your remote communicates with your AC, and how it make your room cool. You are not concerned with it. You are only concerned with it to make your room cool. Okay, so this is what actually abstraction is. You just give an input and it result you to an output. You are not interested like how it function and it give me output. So this is what actually abstraction is. So function provide us abstractions. Okay. A function is a set of instructions that are designed to perform a specific task. Okay, they just do the specific task what we have assigned to them. Okay, they are an independent programs. They are a block of code which only runs when we call it. Now, what this means when we call it, I will explain it later. Okay, It is executed by the main function. I will explain it also laterally. It is used to write the code of large programs by dividing into smaller independent units. Now, what actually this means, like if I am having, let's suppose, take the example of the cloud server, like Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Cloud, okay? So it program will consist of thousands of codes. So if I want to make a program similar like cloud, so what will be I doing? I will not make it in only one main function. I will divide it into chunks. Like what? How to divide into chunks by using these functions in order to clarify my program. Okay, and it avoid replication of the code. And usually each function perform a specific task as I've already discussed. Now, what are the types of function? There are basically two types of function. The one is the built-in function and another is the user-defined function. What are the built-in functions? Built-in functions are those which are already defined in by the C++. The C++ have already defined those functions for our ease. As we have let me show you. This is basically the predefined function, the built-in function. C++ have already defined it for us. As we have already seen, I included string. I have already shown that the string, it is we import that library. It is basically a function. Let me include some more functions. Hash include CMath. Okay. So CMath is basically also a library. How the CMath will work, let me show you. I say cout and I say cos of 30 is, and I want to know what the cos of 30 is. Cos are basically the trigonometric thing, cos, sine, cos, tangent. Okay, so I want to know what cos 30 is, and when I run my program, so it just said that cos of 30 is 0.15. Because of importing this CMath, I can use all the calculus formulas in it easily. If I remove this and then I run my program, now here it just show me an error, like you haven't defined this cos. Okay, that cos was not declared in this scope. Just because if I have removed my CMath library, so it show me an error. Let me import it again and let me run the program. Here it show me the value again because of importing this function. Okay, so they are basically the built-in function. Okay. Okay. Now let's move forward. Now, what are the user-defined function? As they are known from their name, user-defined function are those functions which we will be defining from ourselves. And how their syntax will be, let's get to know it. In order to define our user-defined function, we will first declare its return type. Like what's its return type will be, either it will be a string or integer or void. Void are basically that it return none. Okay. We will say the function name, like what we have, like everything has a name. So what will be our function name? And if there are some parameters or not, we will pass them, and then here will be our main body of our function. Okay, so this is how its syntax will be going to be. Okay, so let's see. Let me just cross it. Okay, so here I include the prerequisite requirements which we are doing, and let me clear it. Okay, let me clear it. Okay, so here I say my int main, I declare my main. This is also basically a function. Okay, but this is the main function. It will execute alwaysly, and it will execute first. Okay, here I say that my function, my okay, if I want to define my function, so I will have to first it is basically I'm calling it. First, I will have to define it. I will say that void, its return type will be void. Then I will name it what's my function name will be. And here I am not passing any parameter, so I am leaving it empty. And then I will enter into my body, and here I will say cout I am the user defined function. And then I will say end line here. Okay. Yeah, now it's good. So here, what actually I did, I first make my main function, then here I am calling my function. Here I just make the whole body of my function, like there will be a function void, its name is my function, and this is what actually its body is. Why it's showing me error here? Okay, it's and I hope now, yeah, now it's good. So that's how you have to tackle also with the errors, like they are use something. Okay, so I am the user defined function, and when I run it, let me first clear it. The thing got messy up. Here, it's just printing me out that I am the user defined function. So what we actually did, we define our own function. Okay, so this is basically calling a function. Okay, like if I don't call this function, let me comment it. This is basically a one-line comment. Okay, in order to ignore it. And when I run my program, I hope it will end the, yeah, let's see. It just return me nothing. Okay, let me cout it so it may be clear. Cout, I will just say hello in order to. Okay, when I run it, hello. Yeah, here it is hello. Like it have skipped this. Like here I am not calling my function, so this will be not executing. Okay, even though it has been defined before my main function, but the compiler ignore it because this function is not called. Okay, let me make my function after my main. Let me paste it here. Okay, and let me uncomment it. Okay. So now what actually I did, I just defined my user defined function after my main function. Okay. So if I run my program, it will show me an error. What is it actually saying? That you have not defined my function. This will got an error because the C++ it worked from upside to from the top to bottom. So while coming from the top to bottom, it reaches here and it sees that there is nothing my fun. The compiler got confused, like I haven't seen my fun, anything like that, what it actually is. So it shows us an error. Okay, so for that reason, we would have to first declare it. Okay, so I said declare my fun and I put the comma and then. So what actually I did, I said to the compiler that don't worry, there will be my user defined function coming, which will be of void data type and its name will be like this. So you don't get worried, you just execute my full function. Let me clear it and run my program. Here it says, like here it said that I'm the user defined function. So when my console reaches here, it jumps to here without coming here. Okay, it directly jumps here. It ignored this for a while being. When it reaches it here, it sees that there is something function. So it directly jumps here and it see out what actually here was. Like here I have I want to see out like I am the user defined function or whatever I want to say. Then it comes back here and then it see out the hello. Okay, so coming back to the slide, let us see what actually I have explained. So calling a function, this is basically calling a function. Okay, so executing the statement of function to perform a specific task is called calling a function, as we have already seen. In order to call a function, we write its name followed by the parenthesis and a semicolon. Let's move forward. This is the calling my function syntax as as I have shown you, and I have also executed. Now, function declaration and definition. In C++, function consists of two types. The one is of declaration and the another is of definition. Let me show you again. here it is the declaration, Leration. It is the declaration of a function. It is the definition of a function, and this is calling a function. Okay, so that's what the difference is. So definition is the body of function. It consists of two parts: the declaration and the body of the function. Okay, so note, if a user defined function like my function is declared after the main function, an error will occur. As I've shown you in my Visual Studio Code, we got an error if we define my user defined function after my main function. So for that reason, in order to avoid that reason, we will have to first declare it before my main function. So that's what actually it was. Okay, we have also done this. Okay, now parameters. What are basically parameters? Up till now, we were not passing any parameters to our user-defined function. Now let's see what actually parameters are. You can also use the default parameter equal to sign if you call a function without any argument. It will use the default parameter. Let us first get familiar what parameters are. Let me show you some function. Okay, so here is my function. This is basically what a parameter is. Okay, I have inserted something in my function, and this is called the parameter. So there are basically user default parameter. Let me just explain the code first. I have defined a user-defined function which says that it is name is of my function and its data type is of void, and it's taking a string as a parameter. Okay, and its default value is China. Okay, and it's cout giving me that you are now in whatever I pass it here. Let's suppose if I pass Pakistan to it, so this Pakistan will come here in this country, and then it will show me that now you are in. Now here the country now is Pakistan. Okay, so it will execute. Now again here it is Norway, so this Norway will come here in this country, and here this country it will show me that now you are in Norway. Okay, but here let's see, I am not passing anything here. Okay, it's empty. So when this empty come here, it will say that nothing I like from this my function, I have received nothing. So it will say that I am having a default value, which is China. So this China will be assigned to this country. Let me run my program and see. So here it says that at first he said that now you are in Pakistan. Then it said that now you are in Norway. Here I didn't pass anything, but it's having the default parameter, which is China. Let me remove the default parameter to see what happened. Remove my default parameter and I run my program. Here I got an error which says that too few arguments to function what my function std. Like here it show me the error, like you are not, like here you can say that there is an error, like nothing is here. So I will have to keep my default parameter in order to run my program successfully. Like if the user didn't give any parameter, so you should have a default value of your own. Okay, so that's how the default parameter is. Now let's see the multiple parameters, like what multiple parameters are. Okay, now let me clear it first and let me run my program. Okay, now here I see I've defined my function as a void. Now here I am passing two things. Okay, I am passing string and I am passing an integer. Okay, what the string is basically a name, and what the integer is, it's of age. Like I want to show it like this name having this age. Okay, so for that reason I built my program. Here I let me first comment this. I don't want to use it. I will be using it in my further code. Okay, so I don't want to make any comment this. Okay. So if I run my program, okay, so here it will say, now here it sees Abid. So Abid will be passed to this name, okay, and here it's 3, so 3 will be passed to this. So here it will be said that Abid, and here I have set a default thing Umar. Abid Umar, 3 years old. Then again I will pass Hassan. Hassan will come there here in and store will be in this F name, and I will pass an age of 14, so it will be stored in this 14 age, which will be 14, and we'll print out. So Abid 3 years old, Hassan Umar 14-year old, Yasin Umar 30 years old. Let me say my function, and I did not pass anything, okay? And when I run the program, here it says, now you can see there are 3 things, and here there are 4. Here I didn't pass anything, but here I've also defined the default parameter. I said that if you do not get any values, so your default value be this, which is Aisha, and its default value will be age will be 19. So if you do not get any value from this calling the function, you will just display the default values, which is Aisha and the Umar I have just put it here, and 19 years old. So that's how multiple parameters and default parameters work. Okay, so I hope it will be clear to you. Now let's moving on how to pass arguments to a function. So we can pass them by 2 means, either by passing their values or by passing their references. Let me show it. Passing by value is such a way that there the function create copies of the argument passed to it. It is called by passing by value. When an argument is passed to a value to a function, a new variable of data type is created. Okay, and this function assess the newly created value to an original value in the calling function remain unchanged. Let me show you what actually I commented here. Then I will make it uncomment. Okay. Let me uncomment it. Uncomment. Yeah, I am doing. I am saving some name in this A, and I am saving some values in this B. So this is what actually passing by values. Now here I am not actually passing these values. I am assigning these values to some variables, and I am passing those variables. Okay, like this is the name of the person, which is ABC, and I've assigned it to A, and then its age is B. So here I say A and B. So here when I call this function, so A will come here and save in this F name. So what here A is basically the ABC, and what actually the B is basically the 20, and this 20 will come here and save it here, and then it will execute. Let me run the program. Okay, so here it says ABC Umar, an unknown name. He is of 20 years old. Okay, so that's how passing by values are. And passing by references, for in order to pass by references, they actually provide us a second name, or they are the alias of a variable. Alias are basically the alternative name of a variable. And how we use the references, we use them as an ampersand sign. Okay, so now here we will see a code in which we will be swapping 2 numbers. Okay, like if suppose a user give 2 numbers which are of 10 and 20, so I have to swap them. Like for example, x is 10 and y is 20, so I have to swap them to make it x is 20 and y is 10. Okay. Okay, so here it is. What I actually said, I have just defined my user defined function, and here it is my main function. Okay, so in my main function, basically I'm swapping 2 numbers, so I have to declare its data type, which is of int, and their variables. Okay, so first name is of 10 and second name is of 20. So before swapping, it will say that x is 10 and y is 20. Then when it comes to this line, okay, swap number. So here it recognizes that swap number is something a user defined function. Okay, and it is taking 2 parameters. Now they are parameters. Okay, which is of first name and second name. And when I pass it here, I said that now I am basically accessing to their addresses. Okay, I said that ampersand x and ampersand y, and this is basically the logic of swapping two numbers. Okay, I just created a third variable in order to swap my two numbers. Okay, in simple Python, we will say that x comma y will equal to y comma x. But here in C++, we have to do this 3 lines of step in order to swap two numbers. Okay. And after swapping my numbers, my code will come back here and it will say that after swap, x is your first number and y is your second number. So let me run the program. Let me clear it and run the program. So it says before swap, x was 10 and y was 20. And after swap, x is 20 and y is 10. Here you can see x is 10 and here you can see x is 20. Here you can see y is 20 and y is 10. So what actually I did, I just cross-checked the values, which were 10, 20, and I made them 20, 10. So that's how passing by references is. Okay, so let me give you a short overview. What actually we did, we first came to know about how to install Java C++. We came to know what are data types. We came to know what are our variables. We came to know how to deal with strings, what are strings, how to concatenate them, how to find their length. Then we came to know about, then we learned like how to get input from our users, like how to get numbers or data from our user and to store them for multiple reasons, for multiple purposes. Then we make a calculator, our basic calculator. Then we just do some simple task that in order to convert our dollars to rupees or our rupees to dollars. And then we just do some playing with numbers, and we just get to know about what functions are and how they work, how to declare a function, how to call a function, and how to pass parameter, how to declare default parameters. And in the end, we just see an example like how to pass references. So this is an end of our C++. So back to you, Hamza Hassan.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on the Q&A session. Thank you so much. It was really interesting. We are having a few questions for you as well. Hamza Shahid has asked, can we concentrate number?
Okay. No, we cannot concatenate numbers. Concatenation is basically for the strings. Okay. So we cannot concatenate numbers. Right. If these numbers, they are passed as a string. Okay. They are passed as a char or either passed as a string, then we can concatenate them. But as a numbers, we cannot concatenate them. Okay.
Okay. So here's the next question by Nimra Yaqub. She is asking, VS Code can be used other than C++ language. Will that be the best for the Python?
Yeah, of course, Visual Studio Code is the best IDE for all the programming language. You can use it for Python, you can use it for C++, for PHP, for Java, or for Dart, for Flutter, anything. It's the best.
Thank you so much, Zafar. I hope there is no such confusion about those topics. Thank you so much, guys. That's all for today. Thanks for joining this session. I hope you learned something new from this. Goodbye and take care.